Some guys really like Batman, and they had an epiphany. So they all got to work on the next Batman movie. And now they are the heroes, and you get to follow along. They're bringing him to life every week after this song. Batman, Project Batman, Project Batman. Fuck yeah. This is funny. So I planned earlier today to finish taking notes on all the episodes we've done so far. And we were like busier at the store than I thought we would be today, so I didn't get a chance to do that. But my last notes on, hold on, let me find it. On episode 16, we're 32 minutes in. All we've decided is that Talia's cup size is a C.
Full, but not too full. Indeed.
Yeah.
Do we need to introduce ourselves or something?
I mean, okay.
Well, with us this time is Christian.
Hi. I'm a new guest. I'm not old.
No, you've been on.
I'm a pretty old guest.
Yeah.
I'm the oldest of guests if you go back with this guy, Kenneth.
Yeah,
because you can see me touching him in Radioland. But I'm relatively new to this podcast.
You were on episode 7.
I didn't know I had a number.
You were on episode...
Kenneth doesn't even
Phantasm.
You don't even know.
Phantasm was 6.
Yeah.
6.
Yeah, you were on episode 6.
The best episode.
The best episode.
That's what they call it in France.
Don't we have listeners in France?
We might.
I'm
we will eventually if we don't right now.
I'm huge in France.
So right now, somebody in the future is listening to us.
In France. Where I am big. Big in France.
Yes. Hey, this is going to make me seem dumb, but I didn't know until today that Daft Punk is Parisian.
Yeah, why do you think they use autotune?
Americans use autotune.
Yeah, after Daft Punk used it to cover up their thick French accents.
I'm just saying.
More about music, Kenneth. We both grew up watching VH1. There is no excuse for you knowing less than music than me.
There was never a Daft Punk special on VH1.
Well, that's VH1's fucking fault, because they're glorious.
I agree.
Yeah, everyone agrees now.
I also didn't know Phoenix was from Paris until like a month ago.
Phoenix, Arizona is from Paris.
I don't care. Should I?
You don't like Phoenix?
Who's Phoenix? They like Skrillex?
No.
They like Fenix or Phonix?
You know the song Listomania?
Yeah, I'm not really down with Phoenix, I guess.
Yeah.
If you're going to go by that song.
Well, they're awesome.
That's good for you, man. It's wonderful.
Okay, so...
Here to talk about Fat Man by Weird Al Yankovic.
I was going to say with Kevin Smith.
Weird Al Yankovic. Fuck that fat fucker. Come on my plane. I'll kick him off. Is it because I'm fat? No. It's because you're Kevin Smith and Kenneth loves you too much.
Christian's feeling very aggressive tonight, which is good because we need strong harsh criticism.
I just want to talk about Batman. Like, I don't know why we're talking about Kevin Smith. I just want to talk about Batman. I don't know why you
get into it.
All right. Well, I think I can intro this then. What we're here to do tonight is we're gonna finally, like we planned to do about 4 or 5 episodes ago, get back into our snowflake and the snowflake method of writing a screenplay.
Oh.
And we're going back. We've got to characterize our characters, and I want to do that all at once. This might be a 2-part episode, depending on how long this takes.
Well, I don't have all night.
We have until you leave.
Yeah.
I love that. I don't have all night. I got drinks to drink, sleeps to sleeps,
and Paul from
ducks
episode
to duck.
Paul from episode 4 was supposed to be here, so we might do another one with him very soon to get his.
Oh, so I couldn't come back?
No, you definitely can.
Oh, okay.
I'm just saying.
I felt put out.
No. You're here. How can you feel put out?
Next time I'd be put out. I'm not allowed to come back. This is the show to be on now that Scattershot's off the air. Man, that was a hot ticket for a second, wasn't it?
It seemed like it would be.
Needs a new name. Name's terrible.
Hey, but you are my Tell Him Steve Dave. And if we are going to make that reference, and the first episode of Tell Him Steve Dave had a separate title, and the second episode didn't come out till months later. So
holy tits!
Yep,
and I've got 2 episodes sitting at home that are terrible, but
it's okay.
They're like season 5 material, man. You do it after you have the people in. That's when you have the Space Ghost drinking and shit. You don't do it in '94.
I should sit down.
I'm blacking out.
All right.
Only he knows when he's blacking out. No one else.
So going by the snowflake method, step 1 was we have a sentence that summarizes our entire screenplay.
Wow. You can summarize your screenplay in 1 sentence.
Following widespread.
It's like if you were to stumble across this movie on Netflix.
A log line. And that's
a synopsis. A log line is like "Let's party" from the Commando poster. That's a log line.
No.
Let's party.
I'm taking a writing class right now. That's not what log line is.
I'll also tell you that art is subjective.
That is also true. But
trumps everything.
Our sentence, since you asked,
I'm curious,
was following widespread genocide against humanity, an aging Batman must face off against the immortal Ra's al Ghul for what will be the final time.
So Ra's has been killing people in other countries.
Yeah. Well,
will there be an international presence of superheroes, or is Batman the only hero that exists?
He will.
And I'm not saying I'm not asking to be a dick.
No. I mean, yeah, they're
ask whatever you want, but we want to go sort of chronologically with.
Oh, okay, that's fine.
Yeah, and then we'll get to your questions will be answered.
Okay.
Yeah.
It's like if
Lost.
there's anything that you don't want to spoil, obviously anything you don't want to spoil, other than the fact that I'm going to spoil right now that not all the questions on Lost were answered, so that's a bad example.
That was the joke I was trying to make.
Yeah. To Christian.
But no, there's nothing we can spoil on this because the point of this is for everyone to know the whole process. But okay, so the sentence was the first step. The step 2 was to expand that sentence into 5 sentences that create a paragraph that would be an outline for our story. So we broke it into 5 acts with 5 separate sentences. First act, the pre-existing central main conflict. Batman is aging in Gotham. Ra's is readying his plan.
How old is he?
Pushing 50.
Okay.
Second act.
Easy to...
Yeah. Second act, the conceit. Batman needs a new suit to continue fighting. Ra's begins his genocide.
And for the listeners who are too lazy to Google conceit, that would be like the problem Batman has to overcome. Correct?
Yeah.
Okay.
Basically, like... by the end of the second act, by the end of the conceit, somebody could walk out of the movie and tell their friend, like, "Oh, this movie is like about this, and that should be really cool."
I think it's cool that you're working in the 5-act format.
Yeah, we're trying to. I'm not sure if this is going to exactly fit 5 acts when it ultimately turns out, but right now that's what we're going for.
Everything I've ever read or learned from every screenwriter's Bible, everything I've ever even thought about writing. 5-act is not crazy difficult like everyone seems. It's 3-act, but you get your ideas in order.
Right. I mean,
unless you're Chris Nolan,
Shakespeare.
It just falls apart.
Every Shakespeare, every Tarantino is 5 acts. That's all you need to know.
Yeah, it's from then to then,
and that's what we're trying to do. It might end up 4 acts, but we're writing it as 5, and it depends. A lot of it's dependent on how the audience breaks it up.
Right, and how, once we get down to the nuts and bolts of writing scenes out, like...
Well, and maybe you'll start something new.
Yeah, exactly. The projects evolve as
there's
you do
a great
them.
quote about music where, like, once you forget about melody and harmony, once you forget about music being right, and that applies to everything. Once you forget about music being right, you can do anything.
Yeah.
And once you do anything, that's when people get involved and people get interested.
Yeah.
It's because that guy is doing something that, I need to pay attention to because it's like nothing else.
It's like, I forget who said it, but there's a, you could be an amazing musician and be able to come up with a million different cool ideas for what could sound awesome at any given moment in a song. But like the real brilliance shows when you make a decision not to play something.
Oh, yeah.
Like, I forget who said that, but like, if we have a million ideas, but like, and they're all cool, but they're not what we need, then we might end up taking something out and it'd be 4 acts and like, whatever. The whole piece evolves as we do it.
Well, that's something I really love about Batman as a crime-fighting artist, is the fact that he could use the Batarang, but he just uses the Batclaw instead. It's just simpler. It's one motion. I'm just saying.
Okay, so the third act.
Not nobody, just nothing. Oh, God.
I'm just trying.
I don't know why I come here.
I'm just trying to set up to get to the step we're at so we can free-form talk. The third act is the turn. Batman starts trusting Talia as they begin to figure out what's going on. Fourth act is the spiral. Ra's sabotages Batman's operation, killing Alfred.
Damn.
Yeah.
That makes me very sad.
Well,
Oh yeah. No, it's like when I originally conceived the scene, I teared up. That's I mean, it's very heavy.
yeah.
I mean, even Nolan wouldn't kill Alfred.
yeah, but I mean,
He'll kill anybody.
between the animated series and Batman Beyond, something happens to Alfred and nobody's ever said what it was, so we decided let's
Like, Alfred has a really bad experience with a goat or something. Alfred was attacked by a goat on the farm. He was never the same again. He's just like... Ra's comes in with, like, a big old goat head mask from, like, the costume shop. It just scares him to death.
That's right, because he did have one of those. Yeah, he did.
wait.
No, he had like an Anubis mask.
And then Bane
Yeah.
comes in. Oh ho, Ra's! I was born in the goat mask. You only adopted it. And then he leaves, and he's in none of the movie. Other than that one scene where he does the Tom Hardy, like, cartoony Bane voice.
Fifth act, the climax. Batman battles
Nice.
Ra's as Talia sabotages her father's operation before submitting to his wishes, getting killed in the process.
But what's the cooldown? Not being a dick, but what you got to have some sort of
Well,
end cap
think
onto that.
about the end of Mask of the Phantasm. There's no real resolution.
Oh,
He ju-
so you want no cooldown?
I mean,
from the climax.
Batman stops the bad guy and he goes back to being Batman.
There's
Okay. No.
I-
That's he can stand on the side of a fucking building and I'll accept it at that point.
There was the
that's
way
what I'm used to.
I had it seen was that there was a bit of when he gets back to Gotham, he'll see that Talia, who has been replaced in her own body by Ra's, is still vaguely, or is still pretending to be Talia and using Raish's money to sort of like a relief aid.
Are you gonna do like a really weird homosexual Ra's al Ghul, where he's just like really into being in his daughter's body?
You should actually.
He's just really into it, just like walking around all the time, just feeling his tits.
I don't think he's seen Out of the Past.
That might be worth it to just sit down for a minute and
I
catch him up.
don't need to watch anything right now.
Is
Is it animated series or is it Batman Beyond? It's Batman Beyond's on Instant now, and I can watch it whenever I want.
It's Beyond.
Yeah, it's
Which
the
season?
season 3 season 3 episode Out of the Past. I think it's episode 3.
It's a two-parter.
I'm gonna.
No, it's a one.
Oh, it is?
Yeah, it's
Okay.
it's a
I'm
half
gonna
hour.
work my way through it because it's on Instant now, and I can just do it at my leisure. I don't have
Right.
to worry about downloading or anything.
Yeah,
I'm just gonna work my way through it.
right on. But
I'm sure there's gonna be something in there that I really enjoy.
But that's the episode. What we're doing is connecting the animated series to that one episode.
Out of the past.
Yeah.
Okay.
So any of those questions you have about that, and this is cool because since he hasn't seen that, this story should work for people who haven't seen that. So as we explain things, you'll be able to tell us what works and what doesn't.
I've read Batman comics since '94,
Right.
and so like you could. Like I said, you could have him standing on the edge of a building at the end, and I'd be okay with it because that's Batman.
Right. Right.
It's the Dark Knight.
I just want it to work as a self-contained story, as well as being a centerpiece.
Well, I like the ending where it is because it can set up for something else. I mean, I love how it sets it up for something else. But even if he just came back to Gotham and like the Joker shooting people with a sniper rifle again or something, just got to go back to work. Like even if it was just that.
Actually, yeah, it is kind of like that. Except the Joker is dead at this point in the story.
Oh,
chronological.
Okay,
this is about
2 years.
About 2 years after the flashback in Return of the Joker, discussing what happened.
I've seen
to Tim
Return of the Joker.
Yeah.
Henry Rollins is in Return of the Joker.
Yeah, but it's 2 years after that flashback.
I just love that character so much. It's really hard to replace Joker as like the greatest villain for me.
There is a lot of what's going on in Batman's mind is that he's still feeling guilt about what happened to Tim, and it was actually because of that event was the reason he left the Justice League.
Yeah. So you're chronological here.
This
is just a side story for a gap of time.
Right.
This is awesome. Shadows of the Empire.
Yeah, it was like basically what it discusses is how Batman develops the suit that he uses in Batman Beyond. And,
nice.
And
I'm on board.
And it discusses an event called the Near Apocalypse of '09, which was a global event that it's mentioned twice in the entire canon of the DC animated universe.
It sounds familiar from the comic universe, right before Grant Morrison got his grubby paws on it. And yes, I usually like Grant Morrison, but the moment he decided to kill Batman, I was just like, no. So now I just don't like him.
But yeah, the Near Apocalypse of '09, all that is hinted at in the DC animated universe is that it was a global event. It was Batman's final showdown against Ra's al Ghul. And Talia helped him defeat Ra's. And at the end of it, Ra's body was too broken to do anything with anymore, so what he did was he ended up inhabiting Talia's body. This discusses all... This is actually... this is the central conflict of the movie.
Yeah.
And so, now, to answer your question earlier, whether or not it's just Batman, Batman does... there's this sequence. One of the acts is Batman and Talia trying to go to some of these destroyed cities. You can close that door if you want.
Well, before we... hold on. Before you start naming every scene, I just read I just told you everything we got out of step 2, which was that paragraph of the 5 sentences. So this is what we're working on today in the Snowflake method. Step 3. The paragraph from step 2 gives you a high-level view of your screenplay. Now you need something similar for the storylines of each of your characters. Characters are the most important part of any story, and the time you invest in designing them up front will pay off tenfold when you start writing. For each of your major characters, take an hour and write a 1-page summary sheet that tells the character's name, a 1-sentence summary of the character's storyline, the character's motivation, what they want abstractly, the character's goal, which is what they want concretely, the character's conflict, which is what prevents them from reaching their goal, the character's epiphany, which is what they'll learn or how they'll change, and then a 1-paragraph summary of the character's storyline. So we're not going to write all this out right now. We're just going to talk it out, and I'll write it out later. But there's 2 important points. You may find you need to go back and revise your 1-sentence summary or your paragraph. Go ahead. This is good. It means your characters are teaching you things about your story. So our story might change as we come up with minute details in what we're doing today. It's okay. It's always okay at any stage of the design process to go back and revise earlier stages. And in fact, it's not just okay, it's inevitable and good. Any revisions you make now are revisions you won't need to make later. The second point, it doesn't have to be perfect. The purpose of each step in the design process is to advance you to the next step. Keep forward momentum. You can always come back later and fix it when you understand the story better. So that's what we're working on today.
Right. To quickly finish my thought from earlier and to answer your question, the Justice League doesn't jump into the main story, basically what happens is that Batman and Talia are traveling the world to these ravaged cities trying to figure out what's going on. And there's like some sort of UN meeting or some sort of survivors benefit banquet or something like that where Batman and Talia go and try and figure out what's going on as well. And there they run into Superman and the Flash.
Silver City and Metropolis, respectively.
Right. Basically, Batman is trying to keep them out of the entire conflict. One, because of personal feelings he has. He doesn't want to bring anyone that he cares about into the conflict and risk their lives just on a personal level. And also...
Because that's what just happened with Tim Drake 2 years earlier.
Yeah.
Right. And the other thing is that he wants to try and get this himself, because if he fails, then the Justice League is still there and perhaps they can get through the thing. If they go in and they fail, everything's lost.
And also, if I could relate this to something in present day that people may be thinking about, I know you haven't seen Iron Man 3, right?
I probably won't.
Ever? Okay, well...
If it gets on Netflix instant, yeah, sure.
Well, okay, I'm not going to spoil it, but, I mean, it's just to relate something to it.
Let me guess, Tony Stark does not die.
You're right. Spoiler alert,
Spoiled.
Iron Man wins. but
I mean, it's an Iron Man film. I don't expect it to end with Tony,
right.
dying.
But anyway, how I'm connecting these two is, like, there are some people that walked out of Iron Man 3, and, of course, it takes place after the Avengers, and they say, well, why didn't they just contact the rest of the Avengers to take care of the Mandarin and all this stuff? And those people didn't get the movie. They didn't understand the movie was about Tony Stark.
Captain America's busy. Hulk's out being Hulk.
Exactly.
They're fucking busy trying to save the world.
My point is, you shouldn't even be thinking about that, because it's a story of...
It's called Iron Man.
It's a growth story about him and where he's at in life.
I didn't think that once watching the movie.
Exactly, because you were invested in the character, not the logistics of it.
Yeah.
So that's how I think of this. The point is, we want people to be so invested in Batman that, like, we can reference the Justice League, and we're still going to have that scene where he talks to Clark and, God damn it, what's the Flash's name?
Wally West.
That's why they call him the Flash mostly. I am completely serious.
Clark Kent is an awesome name, but, like,
Wally
we'll go with the Flash.
Hasn't there been another Flash at this point?
There,
Flash? Kid Flash?
Not in the storyline we're dealing with.
No Kid Flash?
Right.
So Justice League is from the canonical... Is that from the canonical WB standpoint?
Yes.
Like, which show? Justice League Adventures, or the most recent one? Not Young Justice, but the one before that.
It's the one before that. It consists of Batman the Animated Series, Superman the Animated Series, Batman Beyond, Static Shock, the Zeta Project, Justice League, and
Those
Justice
are all
League
canonical
Unlimited.
together. Those all work together.
That's what we're saying.
Yeah, no, this is... but that's all a
what was the last
completely
one
separate
called?
storyline. Justice League Unlimited.
There was one after that before Young Justice. It wasn't on very long. Or was that JLU? Or am I just thinking Young Justice is JLU?
Either way.
Anyway.
We're just... throw all your other knowledge about Batman out. We're just working with that WB canon.
No.
But for the purposes of this...
Oh, maybe.
Yeah, I mean, but that is the...
Alright, so who's Bruce Wayne? I threw out all my knowledge.
He's Iron Man.
Okay. Where's Dick Grayson? Is he in this at all?
We don't know yet.
Is Commissioner Gordon here?
I've toyed with the idea. If he is, again, it'd be like a small thing. He doesn't really work with Dick anymore.
Well,
because
Iron Man storyline in the 90s, that was like my first serious storyline when they were like fighting each other that I got into.
But yeah, and there was but yeah, I don't know whether he'll be even involved in the story at all. But if he is, it'll be a really tiny thing.
And when Bruce runs into Clark and Wally, they're not in costume. It's at a banquet, so we're not even seeing the big red S, anything iconic of any other superhero, and it's
Other than the hair and the glasses and the ginormous guy that is named Superman.
You know what I'm
Jor-El.
saying. You know what I'm saying. Like, they're simply there to reflect where Batman's at that moment, where Bruce is at.
Yeah, well, I think you should include them in some form, because if you don't have them in there, it's just... I get what you're saying about Iron Man. I get how people are confused at this point. It's good to at least reference that the universe exists.
Right.
It should have been S.H.I.E.L.D. Something's wrong with S.H.I.E.L.D. They're being court-martialed by the government, and now everyone's in hiding except Tony because he doesn't give a fuck. It's that simple to add in a 20-second thing that's not filler, but adds to the story. Because it gives people a reason to suspend their disbelief. And yes, that's dumb that they couldn't without it, because it's called Iron Man 3, not the Avengers 2 Iron Man 3. Mm-hmm. But at the same time, we're building a universe, and even though yours is one side story, the universe needs to feel intact.
And that's a point I've been trying to get. Like, the way that Raish initiates the near apocalypse of 09 is that he reverse engineers the stuff in the Lazarus pit and weaponizes it.
Oh, so what he's always trying to do.
Yeah, but this time it's actually incredibly effective. He wipes out 800 million people.
Jesus. And another, decently important question to me, because you're going with WB, is it Roz or Raish?
Raish.
Okay. Legitimate question in my book.
It's Raish Ghul.
Because in some of the cartoons, he's Roz. Mm-hmm. Christopher Nolan was like, "Oh, I'll be correct about this one point, but then I'll make Bruce Wayne run away like a pussy," which he would never do.
But yeah, this was actually pretty major thought that I had the other day. I'm explaining this for your benefit. There's a scene shortly after, immediately following Alfred's death. Mm-hmm. Basically, there is an ambush in the Batcave, and Alfred is killed in the process. Mm-hmm.
But it's not funny like that one in Batman. Well, no, Jim Carrey was the Joker.
No, this is like a serious bad thing happening. Basically, after that, Batman is he's absolutely distraught. He wants to hang up the cape and cowl right there. It's just how is he going to keep going with this?
Tim's dead. Alfred's dead. But Dick won't talk to him. I'm assuming Tim, whoever he was dating at the time, is also dead in this storyline. The chick he had a kid with, or is that not in the story?
That's not in the story.
Oh,
okay.
He's depressed and alone. That's why he's relieved. That's why Talia's re-entering into his life is such.
So Batman Beyond has no bearing in the canon of Dark Knight Returns.
Right.
Oh, so no Robin. Poop. I like Robin. Chick Robin, anyone? Best Robin?
Carrie Kelly.
She was a great character.
By the way, listeners, Sean is here.
Hi, Sean. He ate a lot of peyote.
But there is a scene where basically Batman's losing it.
Yeah.
And it's understandable. The guy who raised him just died in front of him, saving his life.
Got to go to the graveyard and yell at his parents in the rain.
Well,
that's what I do.
But no, he's just sitting, and he hears this laughing, and he has this hallucination of the Joker taunting him. Basically, Joker says, "Could you pull that up?" Because the reason I'm bringing this up is because I had an addition to that.
Yeah. What do you want, the line? Or
give me, and I'll read it off, but...
then he starts shooting up fear toxin, just for fun. You guys remember Scarecrow, fear toxin?
All right.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
It happens after Alfred's death, but before the training scene. Joker is goading him, telling him he's too old, that there's nothing more he can do. He lost Robin, he lost Alfred, soon he'll lose the world. Joker and Batman started around the same time. In his delusion, Joker's going to say something along the lines of, "Maybe your time was supposed to end when you finally ended mine. Your last hurrah, Bruce. And the fact that you can't see that for yourself is the most validating punchline of my life." Wow. It's like Batman's subconscious telling him to give up.
It's his parents yelling at him. It's the giant bat flying through the window. But it's new, and I like that.
Right, but a couple of people have taken issue with just how that last part of it is worded, and I think I figured it out. He says, instead of saying that's the most validating punchline of my life, but instead of that, I'm thinking
and that's the greatest laugh of them all.
Well, no, he says, and that's probably the best joke I've ever heard. But the real punchline is that deep down, you know you're every bit as crazy as I am.
Still too wordy. Way too wordy for the Joker. He would never care to share that much information with him.
But this is Batman's subconscious.
Yeah, but that's still never the character I've known as the Joker. I'm not trying to come down on you. I'm just saying that's very wordy for the Joker in any of the series. And even in the canon that you're coming from, it's incredibly wordy and giving away a lot of information.
Well,
the Joker doesn't think he's crazy.
No. He said. No, he has stated several times, at least in the WB storyline. It's like he's completely aware of the fact that he's off his rocker.
Well, a big thing about the Joker to me is always it's just his sense of humor is that evil, and that's the thing I was sold on when I was a child. His sense of humor is just evil.
Now, of course, I'm doing exactly what we said not to do, and not bringing the comics into it. But
his self-awareness makes his psychosis unreal, though. Because if you're self-aware of it and you recognize it, he can't justifiably do any of this.
Isn't that what makes him so scary?
What makes him so scary is the fact that he doesn't have a conscience to even he's too busy trying to get the laugh instead of thinking about why he's doing something, and that comes back to the wordiness.
Listen to
he's a dog chasing a car.
Listen to his monologue from The Killing Joke.
Yeah, okay.
And that's sort of where I'm coming from. The guy's dead and he has 2 lines. And Ken brings it.
That's a good point.
Well, yeah, and Ken does bring up a good point here that it's not so much the Joker himself talking as it is Batman's dark side manifesting itself
for the first time.
Huh?
For the first time, because it's never not been a dead person he loved, his parents, or that giant bat flying through the window. It's never been a bad guy goading him.
Yeah.
To my knowledge, it's never been a bad guy goading him. It's always, why are you letting us down, son? Which is fucked up, and he's crazy because of it. But it's always been his parents. I got to get revenge for my parents. And that's why the Nolan movie doesn't work, because he runs away and he doesn't stay. And
right, but it is this whole the Joker goading him that it actually he's like, no, this is not happening.
Would you say it gives him the eye of, say, the tiger?
It does. What that leads into immediately thereafter is right because the ambush happens right after they get back from traveling the world. In the time while they've been traveling the world,
Talia's not in on this. She legitimately, for once, because even in the WB show, she's fucked him and turned against him a few dozen times. They love each other, but she's evil.
They've parted ways, and it's explained what exactly happened. You're going to have to listen to the previous episodes. There's been a lot of stuff.
That's why I'm here to ask the critical questions.
But
well, you're asking a lot of questions before we're having a chance to explain them.
Well, I'm sorry that I'm on board and ready to ask these questions.
No, I'm not complaining. I'm just saying,
See, this is what I was talking about with your show. There's just too much Ken.
But anyways, immediately following it, basically, the whole Joker goading him thing has the opposite effect of what you think. Instead of pushing him down to his breaking point, it's actually what gets him to shrug it off.
If it was an 80s movie, he'd have a montage.
He's never let his dark side really, really, really get to him. And this is the one moment where yes, his parents died in front of him, but he never got to be really raised by his parents. Alfred fucking was there for him all of his life, and now he's in his deepest, darkest moment.
When he broke his arm and he's in the bed Like, and he's talking to Alfred, which is the thing. Like when he falls down in the hole and he finds the Bat Cave for the first time. That's been in everything. Even when he wakes up, even in the Christopher Nolan movie, it's Alfred who's there, not his parents. Neither one. His dad's a doctor and he has to go be a surgeon somewhere, and his mom's doing something. It's Alfred who's there.
Isn't his dad there when he says, "Why do we fall, Bruce?"
That's later, though. When he wakes up, it's Alfred.
Yeah.
Maybe not in that film, but in everything, like, all the interpretations.
Yeah.
I've always seen Alfred as being, like, when his parents get shot, Jim Gordon is there, and then Alfred comes.
It's like his parents were people to look up to, but Alfred was there to teach him things.
Alfred was there to raise him.
Yeah.
And the scene immediately following that is what actually is. Well, it's not a montage, but it's the first scene. The scene that popped up in my head that made me really want to do this movie is while they were gone, Alfred sort of set to work with the task Bruce had for him. Make this Batsuit that I designed. He doesn't get a chance to test it before that ambush. Well, he goes down and he puts it on, and he goes through his whole training regimen.
Mm-hmm.
You know, the thing where he's got like the trapeze artist crap, and then he goes down, and then there's that thing that shoots the lasers at him, and he's got to sit there and punch the things to get the lasers to stop shooting at him. And he does this whole thing, and when he finishes, when he hits the last laser, this thing comes up on the screen, record time. It is at that moment that he is better than he has ever been.
Cool.
And I mean that is the turning point.
The fact that he has a large screen to tell him with his record time is hilarious to me, but it also fits in that world. He has no reason not to tell himself if he's made a record time.
Yeah, but it's like this.
As long as he doesn't like fist pump.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's the pivotal scene.
Freeze frame.
I'm stuck.
Vegan police. But yeah, that's.
He just keeps going in the air.
Yeah, the jet boots just.
But yeah, that's.
Did Tony Stark ever do that?
Yeah.
But okay, so I think that's that. Does that sort of catch you up with where we are on him?
Yeah,
and
I'm happy with Brucey,
and that helps with. That gets a couple of our points down for characterizing Batman. The first of, I believe we have 6 major characters throughout the course of this film.
Well, also a good point is that you guys are really, like, every question is entirely about characterization with no emphasis on physicality, which is cool to me, because, like, I don't need to know what they look like.
Right.
Like, everything is about who they are, and that's going to affect what they look like.
Right, and it sort of makes it easier for us, the fact that this whole universe is already established, and we don't even need to think about any of that.
Well, everything I've learned about writing from everything I've read is that if you know who the person is, you know exactly what they look like. Because you're going to know someone with enough of the characteristics that you go, okay, this person would dress like this, they would walk like this. Mm-hmm. And some of that's acting, too, but...
We've got 6 principal characters that I think really need the characterization, because these are the guys that are central to everything. Everybody else just sort of a background thing. We've got Batman, of course, his antithesis, Ra's al Ghul, his daughter Talia. We have Alfred. We have Ubu, Ra's henchman, and we have the Clock King. Bizarre choice, but there was a reason we picked him.
Might as well pick the king of calendars. At least he knows when the holidays are.
I'm going to explain it.
Arkham City, Arkham Asylum, whatever reference.
I'm going to explain this the same way I explained to everybody when the Clock King comes up. Most of the time, he's portrayed as incredibly silly. In the animated series universe, I'm sorry, that guy is a fucking badass. I mean, if you're this, 65-year-old gentleman who can hold his own in a fight against Batman in his prime with...
None of the animated series villains were silly.
But, it's like... I mean, if he can hold his own against this, 35-year-old bodybuilder-esque figure with by no other virtue than the fact that he knows exactly how long it takes Batman to throw a punch... if you can hold your own in a fight by that virtue, you're a badass. And it's because of this, because him and Ubu are actually the two that ambush the Batcave. The Clock King is hired by Raish, because Raish is it seems strange.
It's just a choice that I'm going to have to see before I get over.
Right.
And that's the thing about Clock King.
Well, and
it's like if you go with him or Mad Hatter or that little gangster marionette guy or King of Calendars, you're going to have to sell it.
Well, and this is like,
and then people leave.
While I love all of like the reasoning Vincent just presented for us having the Clock King, like I want to make sure that on a story level, like it makes sense how we use him, how he comes into play, how his mini arc through the movie, and so that's one of the reasons you're here tonight, is so we can lay it all out and you can be like, even without seeing it, go, that makes sense or that doesn't make sense.
Okay. And we'll discuss that whole thing. I think we'll discuss why he's in here when we get to the Clock King's
Yeah,
character.
I think we should get to him and Ubu last.
Yeah.
Oh just do all the main characters first, why don't you?
But
don't do the C-listers first.
Okay, so let's get into actually what we were supposed to do.
Well, we did Batman. I know what Batman's
but
for.
Not chronologically.
Oh, okay.
Like
let's
beat by beat.
But let's beat by beat do Batman. Okay, so what's the first thing on the list? Let's sort of brainstorm that. Bring up your
sentence.
One sentence summary of the character's storyline
throughout the whole movie.
Yeah.
Okay, Batman. We spent an entire episode discussing the fact that what we believe in this movie is that Bruce Wayne actually dies, not physically, but the character of Bruce Wayne dies. Mm-hmm. There is a huge difference in personality between him and Batman Beyond and him at the end of Justice League, which is the last...
So what's the storyline of him in a sentence?
Basically...
Well, we have to figure out how to make him the Bruce Wayne you think of automatically, that you know and love from the animated series, and then make him turn into that grumpy dude from Batman
I know
Beyond.
enough about Batman Beyond to know that he's the grumpy dude.
Okay, well that's...
Right,
yeah.
right. But the transition is that, I mean, after Alfred dies, he spends the rest of his life in that house alone.
Yeah.
And it's like...
Even when it goes all Neo-Tokyo.
I mean, like, because he could, in all honesty, he could hire another assistant. I mean, yeah, it'd be shitty for him to do that, probably. But, like, the fact that he wants to live the rest of his life alone because everyone who has gotten close to him has died or left him.
Yeah.
And there's still some hope for him after Alfred dies, because he thinks Talia, that there's something happening there. Like, he might have some...
And then there's an altercation between the two of them that he leaves without her. After, basically, as Raish is sitting there, dying after after the whole final fight, he beckons to Talia, and Talia begins to walk away, but Bruce says, no, you don't owe him anything. He's tried to kill you. He's tried to kill the world. He's psychotic. You owe him nothing. And she's like, but he's my father. And she says to him, what if it was your father?
Yeah.
And he's like, how dare you compare my father to this madman?
He's been doing the same thing his whole life. He's been getting yelled at by his ghost dad for no reason.
Yeah, and that's the one really consistent thing we know about Talia from the animated series, is like she'll like Batman for a bit.
Ladies are dumb.
She'll like Batman.
Bitches be cray cray.
She likes Batman for a bit, but she got to go back and help her daddy. Always.
And this gets her killed.
She's just bored.
Okay, so we know the arc of Bruce. What his motivation to fucking stop Raish.
he's got
to end all this.
Yeah,
essentially, he wants to end it so he can live alone, right?
Right.
Well, he's got the good of the world on his mind. He's also got,
I guess he does expect to end up with Talia, and then he lives alone for the rest of his life.
Right, and like he wants to prove to himself that he can do this because of his whole aging storyline. His body wants him to stop being Batman, and he says no.
I love the big old Batman from Dark Knight Returns.
Mm-hmm.
I love how big he is. He's ginormous.
Yeah,
it's like the size of the Incredible Hulk. It's great. Did you see the animated movie?
Yes.
That was good.
It was.
That's that scene where he's just swinging across the sky and it's like the silhouette and he's just huge. That's my wallpaper.
That's awesome.
Although I do want that Arrested Development wallpaper now. Or the Indiana Jones frowny face. Willie, we are going to die. It's huge.
I just started watching Arrested Development this week. Started from the beginning. I think I'm somewhere in season 2 now. I think I'm at like episode 10.
Hey brother. You gotta massage people like Buster. Hey brother. Hey coworker. I love Buster. I love the actor that plays Buster because he's a fictional person.
But yeah, his motivation is to, one, to save the world, and two, because he needs it for himself.
So his goal, the next question would ultimately be to end this lifelong, like longer than the Joker battle with Raish, and then to, I guess, settle down Talia for once.
Yeah.
I don't know if that's really
avenge Alfred. Be cool.
His goal is to get to the point where he doesn't need to be Batman anymore.
Oh, that's what I mean by he ends it. He wants to end it. He wants to end this Batman.
Yeah, it's like, who was it? Was it Kevin Smith that said, the greatest tragedy of Bruce Wayne's life was never that his parents were killed, but ultimately that he had to put on that mask.
Yeah, I think that was Paul Dini.
Or it was one of those.
I don't think it was Kevin Smith.
Oh, well, Paul Dini said it too, Kevin Smith.
That was a joke.
Yeah.
About, I don't think Kevin Smith's dumb, dude. Don't worry.
I know.
But like,
that guy's too fat to be smart. All right. Kick him off the airplane for being stupid. Smoking that weed. It's probably what it's doing. You know it.
But I do think there's a part of him that if there hadn't been hope built up with Talia before Alfred died, he might have just given up.
Well, but also I don't think if Talia had gone back with him, he would have scorched earthed it and just not said anything to anyone for like 50 years. You know?
Yeah.
I don't think if Talia had like essentially betrayed him like she always does, and that's like the really weird love story in Batman is like him and Catwoman have on and off stuff and it'll be okay, but him and Talia, that is just straight up. We love each other, then we hate each other, then we love each other, then we want to kill each other by hate.
Yeah,
that is the most tumultuous, hurtful relationship.
There's a lot of initial distrust when Talia shows up in the story because the last time Batman saw her, she tried to kill Superman. Yeah. I mean, it's like, so he's.
Oh, is that
Yeah, her last appearance before our part of the story is in the Superman animated series.
Okay, but that's like where they do World's Finest and Superman, though. When Batman shows up, that's World's Finest. It's Batman and Superman together. Speaking of which,
they appear together.
When am I going to get my Batman hates Superman and they fight movie? When am I going to get that?
Isn't that The Dark Knight Returns?
No. They also fight.
No,
They also fight a lot through the Batman Superman animated movie.
Yeah.
I mean, the first time Batman throws him and then freaking Superman punches him against a wall and then Batman's like, I got kryptonite, fuck you, man.
I mean, well, in Dark Knight Returns, he's got the suit and the suit opens up and it's the kryptonite pushes out.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Like fucking Lex Luthor. That's awesome. Made me think he was evil. I hate Superman. Just saying.
Batman's conflict. What prevents him from reaching his goal?
Muscly guys, guys with muscles trying to punch him. Genocide.
I mean, he's got internal conflict with his age.
Mm-hmm.
He's got Raish, obviously.
He's got weird, creepy ghosts who yell at him.
He has trust issues with Talia.
with everyone.
Well, that too.
I mean,
He's not Jim Gordon.
Yeah, what his ultimate goal is just peace.
Right.
That's all he wants. Peace for himself, peace for the world, peace for Gotham.
I'm assuming that even though he's not going to be in the movie, obviously, it's not Commissioner Gordon. It's like, what was it, Chief Gordon or whatever?
No,
Gordon's in his 70s now.
He's Commissioner Gordon. He actually is in the movie. He's actually in one of the opening scenes. We had Ken actually wrote a rough draft of Act 1, which you can read.
Doesn't he rank up after Commissioner? He ranks up one more time. No, that's Gotham Central. I'm sorry, that's not canon to what we're talking about.
Right, no, Commissioners is pretty much as high as it goes.
Well, in Gotham Central, he becomes like the whole head of like the Gotham Police Department.
Right.
Gotham Central.
But well,
so he's
after
crimes.
this, he is still the police commissioner after this. This story takes place chronologically 10 years after the end of the Batman, or the new Batman Adventures in 1999.
Which I just call animated series.
Right, the 4th season of the animated series.
Yeah.
And then 10 years before the flashback at the very beginning of Batman Beyond, where Batman puts up the tape and Cal for good.
I want to watch Batman Beyond now.
Good.
I'm curious.
It's like...
Especially if they bring back Raish and add in stuff about that.
Yeah, it's like I agree with you on I don't like the animation style of Batman Beyond as much. I don't mind it.
Well, especially after we had animated series, it was just like you have
a lot of it's that really weird Batman Beyond style, but a lot of it is definitely animated series.
I noticed.
Anytime that they are in a place where the animated series took place, the Batcave looks almost exactly the same.
He made me watch Return of the Joker a few months ago, last year maybe, and I noticed that at least even though it's weird Neo-Detroit Gotham, it's still, when you get down to the lower levels, it's still Gotham. Right, and it's
especially from a storytelling perspective, Batman Beyond is really good. It's worth a watch.
I just love that
story.
Gothic noir.
Right.
It's always the 30s in Gotham. It's always dark. It's always cloudy. Maybe it's raining. Maybe it's snowing. But it's not bright and sunny, and no one is happy. And I love that setting.
No, I think once I've seen a sunny day in Gotham, the entire animated series.
I think Joker's probably out killing people with a gun.
There are 2 episodes, I think, in a whole show that actually take place in the daytime at all.
I've got Batman in my basement.
Was that?
Yeah.
No, that was...
Those kids find Batman during the day.
Oh.
And that's why they take him down there, because someone's going to find him.
The other 2 are the 2 Clock King episodes.
Oh, well, okay.
Yeah. Both of those are daytime.
Remember the crazy episode with the big genetic animals? The farm animals?
Vaguely. That wasn't in Gotham, though. That was in a suburb.
I
like a monster
Joker episode with the fish.
The laughing fish was at night.
Oh, the episode that everyone gets the image from on the internet of Joker being swallowed by the big fish?
Yeah.
And, Harley's next to him?
Yeah.
I don't remember what that was called.
But...
It exists, though.
But, yeah, anyway,
Good answer.
So, the next bullet point, and this sort of doesn't really apply because we're basically, like you said, metaphorically killing Bruce Wayne, but the character's epiphany, what will they learn? How will they change?
Talia's a cock tease. That'll definitely learn.
Yeah,
that. Hopefully learn that at that point.
But he learns that
I can really
in order to continue going, he has to go it alone with no one at all.
Well, he doesn't keep going. He just fucking hangs the shit, or does he go on for another 10 years?
He goes on for another 10 years after this.
Yeah.
No, so he is Batman for 10 years.
There's theoretically an entire series of that 10 years of where Batman's 50 to 60.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. That'd be awesome.
We have sort of vaguely talked about... if this movie is successful.
If you got the opportunity, yeah.
If this was successful and we wanted to do another one, I was thinking do an actual Justice League story 5 years after this with Batman in the Beyond suit, with Superman. Superman has a new suit. It's this big black and silver.
Would he have the weird salt and pepper George Clooney hair? Do you know what I'm talking about?
You know what? He probably wouldn't.
He kind of looks like Quicksilver.
Yeah, he looks like that in Batman Beyond, but
it'd be 5 years after this.
The very beginning of Batman Beyond is when Batman stops being Batman.
Yeah.
I mean, that's like
So
the
it'd be
first
5 years before that.
It'd be like that's the first 5 minutes of Batman Beyond.
Uh-huh.
Then 20 years pass.
Whoa.
Yeah, like it.
So he's 80.
He's like 85 or so in Batman Beyond.
Okay.
But yeah, and it's
So
at that point.
Clark wouldn't have aged that much.
Yeah, it's at that point. It's at that point that
Another reason I hate Superman.
in Beyond, Superman has like the Quicksilver type hair, but that's
Does he have the weird scruff?
no.
No scruff. You know what I'm talking about? Like when he went and, like meditated in front of the sun for 8 years or whatever, and he comes back and he's just like salt and peppery. I don't know why being so close to the sun gave him gray hair and a stubble, but the dude doesn't.
I don't know.
have
That
a beard.
is a hell of a
He's
lot
an
worse
alien.
than it'd give
How do you
me.
expect him to be like a
Fuck
human?
him.
Why?
I just fucking hate him because he's not a human. He's not one of us. He doesn't have to deal with any of the
Neither-
issues we have to deal with.
Neither is the Martian
I was
Manhunter.
just gonna say that.
Martian Manhunter is a human being. His name is
Joan Jones.
yeah, John Jones. He's a human.
All right.
He becomes the Martian Manhunter. It's like the Green Lantern. He isn't always the fucking Green Lantern.
No. In this storyline, the Martian Manhunter is from fucking Mars. Like they
Oh.
find him on Mars.
That's dumb. There should be an astronaut named John Jones.
Is that what the original storyline of him is?
No, sure.
I don't know. I'm not familiar enough with this story.
Go with the canon you have, but I'm 90% sure no dude is named John Jones on Mars.
If you ever get the chance, because it's on Netflix now, watch Justice League.
JLU.
Well, Unlimited is actually a separate series.
So there's a Justice League and there's a Justice League Unlimited.
Yes.
Okay, so that's the one before Young Justice that I was
Right.
thinking of.
Now,
Okay.
Justice League Unlimited is a sequel series to Justice League.
Isn't it really
And it's-
dark and thick pencils and all that? Or is that
No,
the original?
No, it's similar. Justice League has a very similar animation style to the Superman animated series.
Which is thick lines like the Batman animated series.
Oh yeah. It's the same
Thick black
storyline,
pencil.
similar.
Very bulky, blocky.
Now, Justice League Unlimited has a very deep storyline throughout the entire
There's
series.
a lot of 2 and 3 parters I noticed when I was going through the episode list.
In Justice League, every episode is a 2 or 3 parter.
Maybe that's the one I'm thinking of.
Yeah, in Justice
Is that
League
the-
Unlimited, it's all half hours.
So which
But-
one's darker? Just watch both?
Just watch both, but especially
I got
focus
time.
on Justice League because Justice League.
Well, I've
I
wanted
love
to watch
Justice
Unlimited
League.
for a while.
Right.
I've heard good things about Unlimited.
But yeah, I think Justice League, just regular Justice League, is even better just because the individual episodes are fucking insane.
And plus, I don't buy into that whole concept that Marvel has better people than DC. I think DC has just been mishandled. I think their characters have been mishandled.
I mean, like
Deadpool is a ripoff of Deathstroke. like as cool as Deadpool is, no Deathstroke, no Deathpool, no Batman, no Moon Knight. It's just, there's a lot of things
Right.
that they stole from each other, but at the same time, yeah, the X-Men are cool, yeah, the Avengers are cool. DC does have a really neat stable of people when they're handled. Even Aquaman.
Oh yeah,
When he's king of fucking Atlantis and has that hook, he's a bad motherfucker.
that's how he is in Justice League. That's
Cool.
how they bring him in. He's a king of goddamn Atlantis,
Well,
and he fucking cuts his own hand off.
there's actually a cool part where like you can see him in Defiance where he has like the short like squeeb haircut and he's like Prince Adam.
Mm-hmm.
Or is that his name? Adam?
Something. I don't know.
I'm gonna call him Adam. But he's like the Prince of Atlantis, and he's like kind of emo-y, but he was also badass in that, and that's I guess before this.
Yeah,
but like
they-
so he's just the king of fucking Atlantis.
Yeah.
So,
That's the best. That's the best one.
so Ra's al Ghul.
He's a tool, but he had a pool, so we went and hung out.
Hey, he does have a pool that makes him young again.
Like Rod Stewart.
more
I
of
heard
a-
Rod Stewart uses it.
Forever young.
Rob Lowe also uses it. That's how he still looks the way he looks.
All of these celebrities just have access to the Lazarus Pit.
The guy that played Ferris Bueller,
Matthew Broderick.
Matthew Broderick was using it until a check bounced, and then you got Tower Heist where he's like all old. Sorry, folks. I know Matthew Broderick's going to hear that one and feel real bad about Godzilla from 1998.
He's right.
He was a photographer. What the fuck was that movie about?
Godzilla?
Well, now that I know there's one coming out in 2014, I understand why it was on HBO the other day. Because I turned on HBO and I was like, Godzilla from '98. It's like not even a movie you put on like Encore or Stars in rotation.
That movie's pretty fun.
That movie is it's a bad Godzilla movie, Kenneth.
I don't care.
I love.
It would have been an okay
What's
film
the
if they had
Clover
called the
song?
monster anything but Godzilla.
Yeah, it could have been the Cloverfield monster, and I would have been okay with it. But I think Cloverfield should have been Godzilla. I think JJ should have straight up done a found footage Godzilla movie.
That could have worked.
It's the same film, but with the Godzilla monster, and more people would be on board.
It was like
Cloverfield monster's an alien.
no, the Cloverfield monster
Yes,
is
it is.
It's an alien. You see
Is
it
it?
falling from the sky at the end of the movie.
Oh,
Yeah, but at the same
They
time,
wake it up.
You can't explain the Godzilla storyline. Oh, they were deep sea drilling and woke up Godzilla. You don't really have to do much to the story to make it work.
but like,
You just have to make it big and green.
but yeah, with the
But I liked Cloverfield.
I enjoyed it, but actually the way they released it was they did very very limited like viral sort of teasers, and they showed like the first scene. Everyone thought it was a sequel to Godzilla.
Yeah,
Like everyone did for like 6 months.
Well, because there was never a title. There was 1/18/10 or whatever.
Yeah.
The numbers forever. But did you know if you took the poster, put them together, like if you take the poster and like flip it and like put it side by side to each other in a mirror image, you get the monster's face in the middle.
Really?
That's awesome.
It's in the smoke. It's perfect too.
That's amazing.
I'll have to see that.
I saw that on a cracked.com article. So if anyone here listening to this podcast does not read cracked.com, quit being a faggot. Read Cracked. I used to read Cracked when it was a paper magazine.
It was a paper magazine once? Neat.
Yes, it was a paper magazine.
Kick ass.
That
See the face?
is
Oh, that's
fucking
crazy.
awesome.
And no one realized it till way after it came out.
Holy
and
shit.
And apparently, according to the Cracked article, either JJ or somebody was just like, yeah, you guys missed it. Whatever. and another cool thing, the middle of the Silence of the Lambs, the little skull, it's actually it's that image that crazy painter guy took of the naked women making the skull face. It's not actually a skull. It's that image from the Descent poster. What's
I
that
want to
doing
see naked
there?
women.
Well, you can't actually see him. It's essentially that image. It's that crazy French dude who painted the melting clocks.
Dolly?
Dolly, thank you, sir.
You're welcome.
The fuck
See?
did you know that?
Because he's awesomer than you.
Alright. So Ra's al Ghul.
Again.
That's his name.
A one-sentence summary of his storyline.
Okay. Forgoing all notion of honor at all that he had, he decides to straight up just fucking kill everybody.
He's just done.
Yeah,
He's
it's
trying.
Wait, yeah, because he realizes that through the last time we see him is that he loses a battle against Superman trying to steal his powers because he can't use the Lazarus Pit anymore. You're on a timer with the Lazarus Pit.
Yeah.
Now he gets enough of Superman's strength to be able to use the Lazarus Pit again, but the process is stopped, and the process is stopped because Superman told Ra's it's either finish this or go save your daughter who's about to fall off a fucking cliff. And he goes and actually saves Talia. He does care about her somewhat. And they fall and they lose the battle. Well, after they survive that, and Ra's says to Talia, you need to leave. You
are just cramping my style.
pretty much.
You
I
need to
mean,
go.
he says, you are to me what kryptonite is to Superman.
Damn.
I mean, yeah, no, he's pretty fucking cold about it,
Don't
too.
you think she needs some of that Batman dick after that? I mean, snap, snap, snap.
Yeah, no, and he straight up just tells her, fuck off.
That's
and he
well, not
realized
straight up.
and he's always had this notion of him and Batman have always had this at least mutual respect
League
for
of
one
Shadows.
another. That's not a storyline in here. Batman was never affiliated
But
with that.
he still has
yeah.
to respect the training, and even in the comics, and even though they never mentioned it in an animated series or anything, the training and the similarities, they are from similar. They're trying to achieve similar goals.
Yeah,
Opposite methods, but similar goals.
Yeah, and so
Ra's is just punish the wicked, rich or poor. Batman is do your best to pick out who you have to punish,
And like
don't kill them.
At this point, Ra's is like decided finally, after hundreds of years of trying, that he cannot honorably achieve what he believes he is quote unquote meant to be doing in one lifetime.
Ra's al
Right,
Ghul
you know,
started
it's
the Civil
like-
War. Did you guys know that? Ra's al Ghul's the reason for the Civil War. Ra's al Ghul's also the reason for 9/11.
is that like an established thing?
Fuck no, but it should be.
It's actually like Vandal Savage is a very similar character in that he actually was Alexander the Great. He actually was Genghis Khan. I mean, the guy's been around for 50,000 years.
This is a Batman character?
He's a DC character.
Oh, okay.
Really fucking cool character, too. Like, basically, his story is that SparkNote's version of his story, he was like a Cro-Magnon or a Neanderthal or something 50,000 years ago, and this meteorite fell to Earth, and all of his tribesmen got scared away, but it was cold, and the meteor was warm, so he slept next to it, but the radiation made him completely, not only a complete super genius, but absolutely immortal in that you can't kill him.
So
at,
like
at
from
all.
Aqua Teen Hunger Force.
Yeah, it's like you can't kill him at
Exactly.
all. In Justice League, they drop a missile and collapse his fortress on him, and he gets up out of the ground, relocates his entire skeleton, and stands up. I mean, this guy is absolutely fucking unkillable. I mean, he makes Superman look like nothing. I mean, it's
Both of which are unlike Ra's al Ghul, which we are talking about.
right. Well, Ra's al Ghul can be killed with conventional weapons, at least.
Segways are neat.
But anyway,
Not the scooters, but the literary devices.
fucking Job.
That's actually
Where the fuck do you even get a Segway?
Job at the construction site trying to get over the little like bump. Michael, and he finally gets over. Michael.
Oh god. Anyway, but yeah, the first episode with Ra's al Ghul, the two-parter, the Demon's Quest. He actually has the shit ready to go to wipe out. He had an almost exact figure of 2 billion and some people.
That's the animated series two-parter, right?
Yes.
Okay.
But you know, and he knows it. But Batman wants to challenge him and finish this.
Yeah.
Ra's just like, okay, you think you can beat me? Let's duel. He has this even though he's ready to wipe out a third of the Earth's population, he still has enough respect for his enemy to give him a fighting chance.
Yeah.
And he's done this multiple times, and each time it has gotten him shit.
Well,
And he has realized throughout all of his failings, he's going to continue to fail if he doesn't give that up. He has to give up any notion of honor.
Well, and that also fucks with Bruce, because Bruce has to realize at some point, you gotta kill Ra's. This isn't an option. Like after killing the Joker, you have to kill Ra's.
Yeah.
Ra's makes the Joker look like a kid who's throwing firecrackers at cars.
After this, because I've already described it too many times, I will show you the choreography for the final fight scene and how it actually goes down.
fine.
It's fucking brutal.
No, but I'm just saying,
if he doesn't, not the most brutal thing.
if he doesn't kill Ra's, it's just going to keep happening.
Yeah, well, basically...
That's the only option.
Basically, at the end, he justifies the fact that he has, in one way or another, killed Ra's.
He has to. I think he should kill Ra's. Murder.
Yeah,
him.
like he technically kill him. I'll explain it later.
Batman kills him. Meaning he punches him in the spine real hard and just leaves him in Arkham City just to die. You're not going to come back from a spine punch that hard. I'm sorry, everyone. Arkham City is a little violent. He kills people.
But yeah, the so Raish's story arc, and this was it was a shame Paul wasn't here because a lot of this was his idea. But Raish's story arc is that, he has decided to give up all notion of being honorable and just go with his goals. And
which will fuck with Batman's sense of honor, since he has to make a decision of if he's going to murder Raish or if he's going to Batman kill him, which is like killing him by technicality.
Wait, yeah, that's what he
killer
does.
Kill him, make him kill himself.
That's what he does. Like I said, I'll explain it after this.
Okay,
but yeah, so he has this sort of. It's not so much a story arc throughout what the story is as it's told, but it's explained the big change in character between him in this story and him the last time we saw him.
Yeah.
Talia explains that he's gone.
Lost it, essentially.
He is gone.
The fight with Superman, and then, if you're going to go after Superman because your Lazarus Pit has stopped working, you're fucking desperate. To do
he really I never made that connection, but yeah, you're right.
Desperation to and it's not it's not an easy fight going after Batman, but it's also you're not going after an alien,
right?
Who has one weakness and who, if he kills you, you have no Lazarus Pit to go back to. You have to win that in some sort of fashion.
Yeah.
So we got his motivation and goals down. His conflict, basically,
rapidly aging.
Yeah.
That's his thing.
He wants to accomplish his shit.
Because he's still on that timer.
Yeah.
Well, has that timer put him in the position of I've got to hurry up on my goals, or is the desperation and then the sense of his own humanity for once put him on fucking kill him?
I think it's the second thing. He's not trying to wipe out humanity. Mind you, he's trying to seriously cut its balls off, but
800 million people is not going to cut its balls off, is it?
Well,
which 800 million does he kill?
He wasn't going to stop at 800 million. He was going to not. We actually discussed that he doesn't even want to take out the Justice League. He could totally just rip the Watchtower down from orbit and kill all of them.
Jesus,
if he wanted to. But the thing is that he wants society to be sustainable. I mean, he never wanted the human race extinct. He just wanted it to be sustainable for the planet Earth. And basically what he wants is that after the whole thing hits the shit, he sort of wants the Justice League to take over and rule.
Similar goals, entirely different means.
Right. I mean, he thinks. I mean, he's going about it in an evil as fuck way, but he does have good intentions.
That's why it's such a step up from the Joker being the ultimate villain, is because this guy actually has convictions.
Yeah, I mean, he's...
But the Joker's so old and everyone loves him so much.
But that's the thing. Is, we've discussed that he is the textbook definition of a sociopath. He has no morals.
He's got very stylized hair and a tiny little mustache. I mean, how much more of a villain... I'm not even trying to make a joke. He is stylized to look like a classic villain.
Yeah.
You could put a top hat on him and he'd be Snidely Whiplash. He's a classic villain. Tying girls to railroad tracks and shit.
But yeah, he does look like that.
He does.
Actually, do you remember the episode where he fought what's his fuck?
What's his fuck? I love that guy.
Arcady Duvall. No. Arcady Duvall was his son. Jonah Hex, the one where he was fighting in the Old West.
Oh yes.
He looked like the guy that was setting people on the railroad, tying old ladies to the railroad tracks or whatever. He had a fucking monocle and a goddamn top hat.
Classic.
And I mean, it fits so well. I mean, it's perfect. It's perfect. I never connected that. You're right.
Well, he's also super old, so
yeah. But I mean,
timeless.
And the
he probably was that guy.
His epiphany, what he learns, how he changes. That's the sad thing about him, is he never learns. He fucking gives up his daughter for what he still thinks he has to do.
He learns that he has to kill off most of humanity to achieve his goals, and that's a bad idea because that's. Well,
I think it's kind of his epiphany that he's decided. No, I can't do this honorably.
Is he going to have a big at the end, right before he dies? He's just I don't know, not like he. I'm not going to say redemption, but understanding that, like, oh, I'm going to die and I've done nothing good.
No, because he doesn't actually die.
Now let's.
Well, now they know.
What we discussed on the first episode of this that this entire thing is spoilers.
Right.
I mean, we're sitting here writing the movie.
It was a joke. I mean, we've talked about the end of the movie already.
Yeah.
So
Okay.
It was a joke.
So this would be an interesting experiment. Based on what you have heard about our race story, which basically you've heard everything with as far as his arc is, how would you implement his usage of the Clock King?
I don't fucking know. I don't know how the Clock King adds into Raish. I don't know why the fuck Raish is going to get a C-list villain from Gotham. I don't know why Raish isn't going after anyone good.
We'll explain.
I understand why the Clock King is good, but at the same time, the fact that he's not going after anyone who's done any actual damage to Batman, it's curious to me.
We'll explain it when we get to Clock King, because I actually do have
He's
a
not,
very good reason.
he's not really
for
going
that.
after anyone who knows Batman as Bruce Wayne either, as that main villain group seems to know.
Like I said, we'll explain it when we get to Clock King, but I have a very good reason.
How is he
behind
going to sell Clock King on this?
You want to go ahead and do Clock King?
Let's do Clock King third.
Let's do Clock King.
Clock King is number 3.
Okay.
Number 3 character, Clock King.
All right, so we know who he is. One sentence summary of the Clock King storyline.
The Clock King storyline is that he is hired by Ra's al Ghul. Yes, this isn't one sentence,
But yeah, we're just talking
do it.
about.
but yeah,
One
he is
paragraph.
hired by Ra's al Ghul because Ra's al Ghul knows Batman's rogues gallery. I mean, he knows pretty much everything about Batman, so he knows pretty much everything about every guy he fights.
Hanging out in the background, he knows all this?
Yeah.
Okay.
Hanging out in the background, he found out that Batman was Bruce Wayne. They met in the fucking Batcave.
When?
That's how
When
Raish
they- yeah.
introduced himself. He just
Yeah,
walked
no,
right
he
in the
showed up
Batcave.
in the Batcave.
Wait, Ra's shows up or Clock King shows up?
Ra's shows up in the Batcave.
What does
when
that
they,
have to do with Clock King?
Anyway, I'm explaining that Raish. We're explaining to you why Raish knows who the Clock King is and why it. Now, Raish hasn't annihilated Gotham yet because there are still people like Clock King in Gotham that he can use. The reason he wants the Clock King is because the Clock King is one of the very few arch nemesis. Well, not arch nemesis, but one of the very few opponents of Batman that is not actually insane.
Victor Freeze is not insane. There's nothing insane about Victor Freeze.
Victor Freeze isn't really a factor at this point.
Okay. I
But,
get that. But I don't think most of them are crazy. Well, actually, I don't think the main ones are crazy. I don't think Catwoman's crazy. I don't think Riddler's crazy. I don't think Joker is knowingly self-aware crazy.
Riddler's kind of crazy.
Yeah.
He's got
Riddler's mental issue is that he tries to impress everyone by being smarter than them. And if he doesn't get that, he acts very childish, which yes is a psychological issue, but
he's like
Where
the
does-
Clock King. The Clock King is one of the most psychologically stable of his only thing is that everything needs to be punctual. And
he's OCD.
Which is when you're planning a fucking
When
global
you're-
genocide.
Yeah.
I mean, that's actually very. In Justice League Unlimited, the Clock King was actually hired by a government agency called Project Cadmus to actually plan out a strike against the Justice League Watchtower. I mean, he is incredibly skilled at what he does. Ra's al Ghul also knows about this.
Yeah.
This is mentioned. Basically, when...
To take down the Watchtower, they need to.
Clock Tower.
You gotta take down the clock tower. It's chiming too much. Every hour on the hour, it's just dong.
From fucking space. Causes, like,
We built this
magnitude
space
9
clock tower,
earthquakes.
and we don't know what to do with it. It might get hit by lightning, Marty McFly might show up. We don't know yet.
Also, the Clock King is sort of like one of the only people who doesn't really care about personal gain.
Right. Well,
He may be dead, but since when does Joker care about personal gain? He cares about taking away.
He cares
not
about his
keeping
own
it.
entertainment.
It's not
But like
personal
with
gain,
the
though.
Clock King, he uses
Watch the world
these
burn.
pocket watch grenades,
That's cool.
and yeah, it sucks because I thought that because I had this idea that he was going to use them in this fight,
Mm-hmm.
and I was like, oh man, that's the greatest idea ever. Why did nobody else think of this? And then I went and rewatched the Clock King episodes, and the first thing he does is throws a pocket watch grenade. God damn it, I was just remembering it. But
That happens, dude.
it
Don't worry
happens.
about it.
But yeah, no, but you know what he uses for these? He uses $6,000 pocket watches.
Okay.
He doesn't care. I mean, he just wants. You know, he's not. But you know, Ra's says, "You are out of all of Batman's rogues gallery. You are probably the one that has the best chance of defeating him in one-on-one combat, just because not only does he have the ability to actually just hold his own on him normally, but he also knew about the incident." Where the Clock King had this time belt where he can sort of just move freely, pause time around him and like move. Imagine how that would fucking be useful in melee combat. It is a malfunction of this device that actually gets him killed, but he sort of it's actually he tries to get Alfred because. The reason Ra's is hiring him is not just to kill Batman. That's a secondary thing. The biggest thing is that Ra's knows that Batman has a sample of this Abaddon enzyme, the reverse engineered Lazarus
Abaddon.
that he...
Just the name. Abaddon.
We very carefully picked that name out. But yeah, but the thing is that he needs someone who can actually punctually get into the Batcave and destroy all the evidence so Batman can't neutralize the stuff. He's in there, yes, kill Batman, but mainly destroy the Bat computer. Mainly destroy Batman's forensic stuff. And Ra's wants him because he knows that the Batcave has automated defenses, and it'll take someone of the Clock King's caliber to get through them, at least his mental caliber. The Clock King, he's not like a scientist or something, but he knows how long it takes things to do stuff. He knows response times.
Well, I understand that who he is in the universe. I'm just trying to figure out why. I kind of understand why he's getting hired. It's such a weird choice out of the background, not even caring that he exists in the Rogue Gallery.
And there was a reason for that just on our end of it, not story end, but our end, is that we didn't want to do this almost every Batman movie has featured two main villains from the Rogues Gallery.
Yeah.
We didn't want to do that. We wanted to be just a Batman versus Ra's thing, and the Clock King is... I mean, he's
sort
not...
of just a henchman.
Yeah, he's not really a main character story-wise.
Well, that's why I brought up Toymaker and the little marionette Bugsy guy, and just that background. There's background guys that pop up once or twice.
You want to know something funny? It is the Toymaker. What?
I do like how Clock King looks unsuspecting, though.
Yeah. Oh, you got to see this
Very
poster.
well put
You got to
together.
see this poster I'm doing right now.
Okay.
The Clock King. Well, no. We were talking about the Toymaker.
Yeah.
It's actually the Toymaker in an episode of Justice League that is thought to have killed Superman.
Whoops.
Yeah, no, he had this thing that he thought...
He didn't even try to, he just did.
He thought he made this antimatter ray that he thought was just obliterating shit. What it was actually doing was sending shit about 7,000 years into the future or something like that. Well,
he built a time machine.
Yeah, he built a time machine ray, but he thought he
didn't
killed
know.
Superman. And everyone else thought that Superman was dead. And as
He
a
was
result...
7,000 years into the future.
No, it might even be more than that. It was a long-ass time.
Did he fly around the Earth till it spun backwards like in Superman, the movie?
No. What happened was that... Okay, so Superman's sent into a post-apocalyptic future.
Yeah.
There is... the
7,000 years, it's done here. We don't have 7,000 years.
7,000 years seems like a really small figure now that I think about it. I think it's actually closer to 30,000.
In the year 9,000, I think human beings will be alive, but I don't think there will be life on Earth anymore. I don't think Earth will be a sustainable planet.
Basically, what Superman comes to find is that the Earth is pretty much sterilized.
Nice.
And
clean.
He finds ruins of civilizations and stuff. Eventually he comes to Metropolis, or the ruins thereof. and he
Big old daily
finds
bugle falling on the ground.
the only life form left on the entire planet.
Lois Lane.
No, Vandal Savage.
He's just hanging out.
No. There were other life forms. I think in the Arctic there were like wolves and shit that he ran into. But anyway, one of the only human being
Talking.
that's left.
Yeah,
the only
talker.
Yeah.
Unless these are like sentient wolves.
Vandal. What happened is that after Superman died, Vandal Savage took advantage of this. He managed to come up with a weapon, a doomsday weapon that controlled gravity. And he killed the Justice League with it, every single one of them.
Cool.
Yeah.
And it inadvertently ended up bringing the Earth a lot closer to the sun than it normally is and killed everybody. So he managed to
Couldn't he just
rule
reverse the polarities and push it back?
Well, there's nobody left to rule.
Savage is there.
But
He can hang out.
But yeah, the thing is that he managed to kill off the entire human population, and now he rules the world, but there's no one to rule over, so there's no point. But he's just sitting in solitude for thousands and thousands of years. And he actually has a change of heart. He's like, man, I should not have done this. This was a bad idea.
It'd be nice to have some pizza and hang out right now.
Yeah, I mean, he's sitting
just
there.
like bored.
I mean, he's so bored. He's read every single book ever. He's
played Bioshock Infinite like 8 times.
Yeah, I mean, he's done everything. And he started
System Shock 2 like 100.
He started inventing things as a hobby. He actually built a spaceship so he could leave Earth and just go somewhere else, find some other thing. But he decided, morally, you know what? I'm going to stay here. I'm going to live with my mistake.
In case someone comes down to Earth, you can be like, hey.
But what happens is that one of his hobbies, one of his things that he invented was a time machine. Now he can't use it because you can't go back to any time that you've already existed at. But he does manage to send Superman back to just after he was erased from the timeline.
You could do like 2 seconds right after he popped out of existence. He could just pop back in.
And he said,
2 nanoseconds to where
and
we
he said
catch
he tells Superman, he's like, "Well, my friend, go back, do whatever it takes to stop me. Anything."
Oh my god!
Yeah.
Is this animated series or is this Justice League?
Yeah, this is Justice League. Same storyline as
I
animated
fucking
series.
watch Justice League. I thought animated series was where like Superman the animated
Oh
series.
yeah, no.
was
I mean,
in terms of Superman stories.
Oh, it's fucking
That's the
brilliant.
Superman story I want. I want him to be in a place where all the powers in the world can't help him.
Yeah.
And Kryptonite isn't enough for me, but like a barren wasteland where he has to explore his inner self. That's the Superman I love.
Yeah.
The one who's dealing with alien problems as a human being.
So,
Although I hate him.
what's the Clock King's motivation?
There's
Without
gonna be
personal gain.
How does Raish convince him?
Yeah. Money?
the
Kill the
way
bat.
I was thinking was, Raish was saying, after this whole thing is done, because he explains to him sort of what he's doing. He explains to him that it was him that has been wiping out cities.
It was I! Haha!
But he's like, after this whole thing's done, you can have a country all to yourself. You can have it to where the schedule is law.
Yeah. The mayor pissed you off. The mayor made you start all this. You get to be your own mayor.
Something like that. The Clock
He
King's
gets his own country?
Well, the Clock King's not interested in money, but Raish says
It's going to be a very effective country.
Well, yeah, he says,
Clock King
what?
goes and runs Germany.
I realize that you are someone who actually would be able to do that fairly adequately. I want there to be someone. So, you know what? You get to... I'll give you Japan. You want Japan? Something like that. He says...
No.
But, he
I want
says...
Switzerland.
But, yeah, he says...
They have clocks.
Oh, yeah, important to note with Raish's method of destruction, it only targets human beings. Buildings are still intact.
Oh, so it's an H-bomb, essentially.
Oh, even less destructive than that. It binds with the plasma in human blood and ages them
The H-bomb
into
can
dust.
disintegrate human beings while leaving, like, concrete structures standing.
It can, but it also blows out windows and irradiates things. No, the cities are still habitable.
So it's the perfection of the H-bomb, basically.
Pretty much, yeah.
It's what they want that bomb to be, where it doesn't leave any radiation, it just kills the people. That's why they made the H-bomb. They were trying to do that.
Right. But
Not to be confused with the A-bomb or the F-bomb.
Oh yeah, no, like the overly critical Japanese dad. You dropped F-bomb in school? Why you no drop A? Oh, never mind.
Wow, Vincent, it's our turn to look at you in disgust.
Isn't that terrible?
As the rest of the audience also looks at their radios in disgust.
Radios, they're
Or their
listening to this on
iPads, or their
radios.
iPods, or maybe their
I'm
earbuds.
imagining everyone, the whole family tuning around the fireplace with the radio.
There's an
in
old,
front
like,
of it,
console
tuning
radio
into
with
Project
tubes.
Batman.
It's got- gotta
Time
warm
for
up.
Project Batman. Dad, we're late for Project Batman.
If you're listening to this on
Project Batman.
earbuds right now, your ears are filthy, and you should go clean them. Because you're a germ factory.
But yeah, that's and like here's how it is. Raish takes great care when he ships the Clock King in to come talk to him. They're sitting there in Raish's sort of
Fortress.
Of solitude.
like it's kind of his equivalent of what an office would be in there.
In
And he
Arkham
says-
Asylum, for some odd reason, it was underneath Arkham.
But it's like,
Or Arkham City, I'm sorry.
and the dialogue between them is going to be very nice, because he's like, Clock King's like, I appreciate you getting me here on time, but you have precisely 3 minutes to explain to me why I'm here. Raish is like, I'll only need one. And like he's trying to be very respectful of the Clock King's sort of time thing, and that's
What Raish says should intrigue him so much that the conversation ends up being over 3 minutes.
So his goal is to kill the Bat.
Why he's being hired is to kill Batman and destroy the Bat computer.
Yeah, get rid of his database of information.
Right, I mean, that's actually a primary
Which
goal,
the
is
fact
do
that Bruce doesn't have backups is very, very...
He's there to destroy everything.
He's got backups somewhere, dude.
Well, yeah, he's also supposed to find the backup.
Swiss bank account.
His backup is in Talia's booty. Whamp wow. It's a little flash drivey. Yeah.
Uh-oh.
It's the noise your butt makes. Anyway. The character's epiphany. Or the character's conflict. What prevents him from killing Batman?
Alfred?
Batman?
He's sitting there kicking everyone's shit in, and then Batman's off fighting Ubu, so he manages to get a clear shot at, like, all Batman's lab equipment or whatever. And Alfred comes up to him, and he's like, Clock King's like, God, you're so ancient, I don't know if I should kill you or if I should just wait 15 minutes. And then, they get into this little, Alfred manages to, like, hit him with his cane or whatever, and
a
the
walking
Clock King,
stick.
yeah, the Clock King
not old.
activates his sort of his time belt thing, but due to something that happened previously in the fight, it malfunctions, and he sits there, and similarly to how the Abaddon serum works, he ages into dust and sort of just collapses right there. And Batman finally comes up, and he's like, my God, what happened to him? And Alfred's just like, he called me old, sir. Sort of just a brief moment of levity in the middle of all this shit going on. But
Batman just, like, backs away. And then, like, turns and runs.
But
I always imagined Alfred was, like, a bad motherfucker. Well, I guess now we would think of him as, like, a bad motherfucker in, like, World War II.
well, yeah,
But, like,
he was
compared-
British Secret Service.
So, yeah, he was, like, SAS. So he
Yeah.
was badass.
Yeah.
I always imagined that, like, you don't take care of Batman and not have some knowledge of, like, the world being a terrible place.
Yeah, and like I have to wonder how successful just a standalone Alfred movie.
About this is Alfred in World War II.
It's something like that.
Alfred in
yeah.
the Royal Flying Corps in World War I at the Aerodrome. Flips, Zeppelins,
But yeah. Anyway, so that's
Tommy guns,
But yeah.
mustard gas.
But yeah. So what is his conflict? Does he really have one?
I mean,
he is kind of a minor character.
He's out of time.
Well,
He's got to get back to the future.
I love his entrance. He, Batman, Alfred, and Talia are all sitting there talking about what the course of action is, and all of a sudden you just see a pocket watch fly through the air and land in the middle of him, and Batman just gets this look on his face, and he throws them away from this explosion and takes the brunt of it himself. And and then this whole fight ensues, and Clock King shows up, and he just shows up. He's standing there very calm. He's like, "It's been a long time, Batman." And he's got to say something like that.
It's got to be pun. Got to be full of puns.
Yeah.
You ever notice? I know this is off point, but have you ever noticed that, like, puns, while being very unrespected, like being able to write a good pun that like makes sense, and a lot of people like say it, it's incredibly hard. It's very difficult to come up with a pun that's not.
What do you think of that?
I think it's a pun that I don't think it's hack, but I also don't think it's like amazing. It's John Hamm's ham. It's good, but it's still John Hamm's ham.
And it strikes me as slightly intimidating.
It's kind of like
it's
like if you wanted to do a better one, you would need like Bob Blah Blah.
Yeah.
The lawyer from Arrested Development, Bob Blah Blah, that's the only way to say his name. A Bob Blah 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 Bomb.
I'm Bob Blah Blah.
You know what I'm talking about.
So, there's what we have for the Clock King.
Clock King! We have a sweet theme by Queen.
Regardless of your opinion on him being in it, what about the story and how it works?
Cool. I'd make it the Riddler, but that's just me. I think the Riddler at that point would be so bummed out that, like, because like he has a cool storyline with the Joker where they like go on a crime spree together.
But see, Ra's doesn't want anybody who has a bigger ego than himself.
Yeah,
that's
really a lot of the problems with the Batman villains is they'll get to the point where they can kill him, and they're just trying to savor it too hard, and they won't go through with it.
Yeah, and that's another good reason, I'd say.
And that's always been the problem with the Riddler and the Joker and the Penguin and Two-Face is they always get to that point where they're savoring it, and they give him a moment to think, and that's all he needs, and then they're back in Arkham.
Yeah.
The fact that he keeps throwing them back in Arkham, just Jesus Christ.
Right.
Keeps driving them up there.
And that's the thing, like, Ra's can be like, as long as you can get in and get out, like, I know you're very punctual, like, you just, like, he won't savor any moment. Like, he just knows, like, you get back you do what I say, you get back by this time, you get Japan.
So it's killing the Bat, but it's sold in a way that it plays into his need for respect. Not only time, but that respect of time. Like, you can do this because you have the time.
Right, and I also think Clock King will find it alluring that Ra's is one of the only people who's confiding to his insane punctuality.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's like, I mean,
he's finally being appreciated almost.
Right.
And I think it'll be awesome. I think all those back, like even Mad Hatter and Toymaker and the little Bugsy guy, like there's kind of silly characters, but if you do them right, they can be done right.
Yeah.
Like there's no character in that universe that can't be done right.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
I mean, we all saw what they did for. I never thought they could make Joker any darker than he was in like Killing Joke and Long Halloween and Dark Knight Returns, or not Dark Knight Returns, but Long Halloween and Killing Joke. And then suddenly Heath Ledger comes out with this Joker that is, for the first time in my life, like sinister enough to frighten me as an adult.
Mm-hmm.
The pencil trick, literally, the first time I saw that pencil trick, where he puts the guy's eye through the pencil, I was like, holy shit, what are we in for from this Joker? Because like the bank robbery scene, where he kills all the guys and takes the money for himself. That's Joker. That's classic Joker to me. That's fucking hilarious that he would just straight up do that with people watching. Like innocent people. He just kills all of his friends and leaves.
Mm-hmm.
And that's classic. So that's classic Joker to me. But the moment that he's, you're dead. You're just dead. And it's just like, holy fuck, this is a darkness that is new to this character. / old to the character. Because like when he first came out, he was like super dark, and then it got campy in the 60s, and then it got dark again. Anyway,
so
is that him?
That's a Clock King.
What is his epiphany? That he ran out of time?
Yeah. If you're so worried about your age and punctuality, you don't fucking call someone else out for their age.
Must wind heartstrings. Whamp whamp. Because, like, you wind a clock.
Right, I got you.
You guys suck. My puns are great.
Alright, well, it's 1 a.m. We got 3 out of 6 characters.
We still have Talia, We have Sit Ubu Sit, good dog. And we have Alfred.
Okay, so to be continued. We will finish this character snowflake chart.
Same bat channel.
Next episode. And even when this is released, I know we're like a week behind, but it will be released very soon. You won't have to wait a week until the next part.
Oh, like, so you're going to release one part, then like a day or two.
Yeah, maybe 2 days later.
Maybe 2 guys. Maybe 2.
So
maybe 1.
So think of we close on new development since you last did this. We close on a different Batman line every episode. So since
I have to do a Batman line?
Since you're the guest,
I have to pick a line from Batman.
Any Batman anything.
Do it.
Yeah, it doesn't have to be our canon WB series. And take your time.
Have you ever danced with the devil in the pale moonlight? It's a Joker line from
But
Batman.
he says that. He says that to the Joker at the end of the movie.
Okay. But I'm doing the Jack Nicholson reading.
All right, do you want
or if you want a Batman line, you want to get nuts? Let's get nuts. It's Michael Keaton getting nuts with the Joker.
Yeah. Okay.
All right, there we go.
Beetlejuice, Beetlejuice, Beetlejuice.